So the other day, I may have made a bit of a stupid bet with Mike from the VR Oasis that PlayStation are going to release 10 first-party titles by the end of 2024. Now, I think, as a lot of the comments told me in Twitter, that is quite a lofty expectation. And the bet involves a free dinner, basically. It's not a big deal bet. But what it did do was create quite a lot of conversation, and going by a lot of the comments, there's a hell of a lot of negativity about PlayStation VR2 currently. And I just want to kind of address it, that I really think that people need a bit more faith in this headset. Now, by what I've heard, there is some rumblings of trouble emerging in the situation of investments of third-party titles. Quite a few developers I've spoken to have mentioned that PlayStation simply aren't funding third-party titles at the moment. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that doesn't stop investments coming from elsewhere for these games to make it to the platform. But something inside me tells me that when Sony made the PSVR2, and with the concept, that there was a roadmap of game releases from studios that they own, and they own quite a lot of studios. And if you look online, you'd be very easily swayed into the position that nothing's really happening on PSVR2. Nothing's really going to come out. But I got a feeling this year's going to be pretty big for PSVR2. And as just like everyone else, I could be really wrong. Okay. But if you think that PSVR2 came out in February last year, it already had 2 or 3 amazing games right from the get-go. I personally feel that around the time of the PSVR2 launching, some of these developers would have started work on games that will need more than a year to be developed, are going to be coming out possibly this year, or at least we're going to hear about them this year, and they're going to be first party. Like, they're going to be pretty big titles. So just to be clear, there is no insider knowledge about this happening, and we all know that PlayStation are not very good at letting you know that games are coming. In fact, now and again, it's like I get an email about a game coming out for PSVR2. So everyone's sitting here going, where are the games? I'll get an email saying, oh, our game's coming to PSVR2 in 2 weeks. And I think, why didn't you let everyone know this earlier? And the reason this frustrates me is I think the community and the system in general just needs people to understand that there are games in development. I think it's more important than ever. The system isn't doing that great. I don't know if you saw the numbers from RotoVR posted about the sales about Quest versus PSVR2. I think it was like 95% Quest, and I think that was Quest 3 and Quest 2. And I would imagine that Quest 2 actually outsold Quest 3, but I think a lot of people would have gone Quest 2 because a lot of their friends would have had Quest 2s, for example. And I really hope Quest 3 picks up. But PSVR 2 does seem to not be selling, and it is worrying. It is worrying for me as someone who absolutely loves PlayStation being in this space. But I just got this feeling that this year's going to be really good. And I don't know if anyone else shares that opinion. I don't know if anyone else feels the same as me. And that's why I like to make these videos where you're like, what we're doing here, we can have a back and forth. And you can let me know in the comments what you think is the future of PlayStation VR 2. What do you think is going to happen? Why would Sony develop a headset and just chuck it out in the wild and within 10 months say, yeah, we're good? That's all that's done. You know, I just don't see it. I just think it'd be bad for them as a look. I think it'd be bad for their community. I think it'd be bad for any of their technologies going forward, because they do dabble in different things. You know, the iToy, PSP, PS Vita. PS Vita unfortunately died far too early. It's still such a great handheld. But again, I believe that there is going to be a shift in interest in PSVR 2 this year. That's what I think will happen. I think they're going to hit some marketing that is going to be a lot bigger than what it was before. I think we're going to get some hybrid releases, which obviously normally proves really popular. Resident Evil 4 Remake, for everyone who's played it on PSVR 2, I think in general would say it's one of the best games they've played on the system. And I just want you guys to know that I have faith. I have full faith that PlayStation are going to deliver some really good games this year. It might not be 10. Like, I probably will lose this bet. But if we get anywhere near to that, I'm going to be really happy. I'll happily buy Mike his chicken dinner, because that's what's on the line, you know, a free chicken dinner. And I don't mind being wrong, even if we hit like 7 or 8, you know. I just think that PlayStation VR needs a bit more faith. And I just don't even think that it's had that bad of a first 10 months, to be honest. I think what did set the tone pretty negatively is the games that did come were poor ports sometimes, you know. Hellsweeper, very poor. Green Hell, that was pretty poor. Project Wingman, that was awful, and it was also misleading, you know, and to get refunds on PlayStation just doesn't happen. You can't verbally leave reviews on PlayStation Store. There's all these things, and I'd like to say that verbal reviews matter, but if you go on the Quest Store, literally is just full of garbage, to be honest with you. It's not really a great store to warrant. I think stars are more telling than the comments, should I say. But even so, I still think that I just want you guys to know that I'm fully on board with PlayStation. I'm very excited for its future. I think when the technologies in that headset come together, you get some fantastic experiences. And sure, there's the argument that it's costly. A lot of you hopefully are like me and you have a PlayStation, like you like PlayStation games anyway. So for £500 you get in this headset. But one of the things I think they did really wrong was not releasing any demos. And I don't mean demos of games, I mean demos of what can be done in the headset. Technology showpieces. PlayStation VR Worlds on the original PSVR was fantastic. Literally through the life cycle of PSVR, I played PlayStation VR Worlds, and the most important thing it did, it gave me something to show people who came around to try the headset. And at the moment, we haven't really got that. You've got to take some risks. You know, are they going to be travel sick? Can I put them in Gran Turismo? What are they going to be like in No Man's Sky? There's these different things that we need to think about when we demo VR headsets. That's another video, though. That's another conversation I could have with you guys about how to be very careful about when you introduce VR to people. Don't put them in the roller coaster. Just remember that. Don't put them in the roller coaster, and don't put them in anything that's going to scare the crap out of them. They're the two things, all right? But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to put the message out there that I believe 2024 is going to be huge for PSVR2, and I want to know your thoughts on this subject.